Peter from Gotham here, solo showing and tailing. And I really wanted to show off a fun book, one of the very few signed comics that I very much care about owning.
BRPD, and who is that signed by?
Guy Davis, the artist.
Nice.
I can even tell you when he signed it.
When?
Check it out. Staples 2014. I used to make notes like that on my comics. And I even said like, yeah, I have maybe about 30 comics that I've written on the boards like that.
Oh, wow, I like that. It's like your own CGC notes, but
he had really cool shot glasses of people with Tommy guns shooting you, because shot glasses, you know?
And you got some. You actually got some shot glasses.
Yeah, he signed them, and I washed them once, and they're not signed anymore.
Oh. And, you know, they were at least at one point.
But yeah, no, I was literally trying, because I love his art so much, and I was like, what comic has the coolest cover that I got? And literally, I thought this was so cool because you have the flame in the middle is his artistic signature.
I like it.
So yeah, I was a huge fan of BRPD when it came out. I felt it was 5 times better than Hellboy because John Arcudi gave a lot of writing to the supporting cast. And so you have Ectoplasmic Man here, and the comic inside is actually really, really epic in a lot of ways. You have Ectoplasmic Man looking and trying to look for his other team. You have them in an underground hellhole with like a wizard kind of in control of them. And the funny thing about it is the cover actually doesn't happen in the issue. You have Ectoplasmic Man just leaving. Like there's no fiery explosion when the wizard shows their hand. But later you have other characters fiery explode from that character.
Kaboom.
So it's just interesting that the cover doesn't show a story in it, but it lets you know, hey, that wizard's going to mess people up with his hands and fire damage. But yeah, no, Guy Davis, I just want to shout out for being an amazing artist. He's, I think, European published before Dark Horse found him, and then Pan's Labyrinth got him to do movie design work, and he pretty much moved away from comics.
You said Pan's Labyrinth?
Yes, he
Really?
worked with Guillermo del Toro, and he actually did design work for the second Hellboy Golden Army movie, I know.
Oh, nice.
And he legitimately creates worlds and characters. I saw him at his table just drawing, and he literally could make like anything out of thin air you asked him to. He had fun drawing mutated things. He was like, I can't remember exactly what he drew, you know, when I saw him. It was 10 years ago now. But he really looked at me when I handed him this. He was like, why that one? And I was literally just like, your signature would look the best on it.
Sometimes I think that is the best approach, because, you know, a lot of older comics from like the Silver Age or whatever, they have like blurbs all over the place. But this is like, you only got, you know, title right there, I'm assuming, and then that's, you know, there's a lot of space, there's a lot of areas, which makes it pretty appropriate to get signed. I think that's a good placement too. Really good placement. It's like he's getting attacked by the signature. The signature came down, and he's on fire because of it.
Yeah, because in the story he leaves his body and he becomes a spirit. So it's like the artistic force of the story made the character lose his body, and Guy Davis is signing it. Yeah.
I dig it. And we got Mignola's name on here. What was his contribution?
Well, he I believe he was like a consultant or a co-writer, maybe a plotter. Plotter.
Okay.
Yeah. I know John Arcudi did the script specifically. I don't know how much plotting Mignola did, but...
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. Really good stuff. Really good art on here, too. Look at all that gold. Look at that.
Yeah, this was when Dave Stewart was becoming a famous colorist. And now he's like one of the top 10 best or top 5 best colorists I can think of. But he was making his name for himself here with retro-inspired, simple color palette, but a nice little modern shading gradient. And a really good usage of yellows to highlight dark colors for the body of most objects.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's colored Jeff Darrow too, so you know he's he can color.
He knows his stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and the kind of colors show you the mood with either the flame kind of being a part of it or the dark background. And the sense of coloring really does tell the story as much as the writing and Guy Davis's art.
Yeah, that's almost like a cinematic approach, these two panels right there.
Oh, I love his facial expressions. Like every one of those, like, oh, I might get what I want. Oh, wait, what's going on behind me? I feel a spirit there. And then like you have Lobster coming up behind him too.
It's almost like a storyboard the way it's all panned out.
So you have Ectoplasmic Man possessing the body of Lobster Johnson. In that scene, you have a ghost possessing a human,
cool.
just as a background detail. Yeah, I really got to shout out BPRD, the Arcudi Davis. I think there's about 100 issues that they did together. 5 times better at least than the main Hellboy series.
Yeah, look at those panels.
Yeah, in some ways it's really simple, thick lines, but then there's just like so much told with every little chunk of it that...
But see, that's almost like a Mignola. It's by like, we have like that dead space, but it's there because your focal point's on the character. But you have just enough black right here kind of brushing in the background that it kind of makes the character pop a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mignola did a lot of that. It works so well.
Yeah, there's a definite cool unified sense to the BPRD world from Dave Stewart's coloring and the influence of Mignola's inking spread throughout whatever artist they get on the book.
Yeah, look at this 2-page where like
It's
you have to
crazy.
look at the whole. You have to look at the whole package here.
Yeah, when I turn the page, I almost start here and go up like that almost. Which in the 90s, you started to have these weird vertical long panels that were very absent or just, never designed in the 80s or
Not
earlier.
to this size, at least. They'd be small, maybe like this one right here, but not like to that degree.
Yeah. And it kind of makes sense because sometimes when you turn the page, you just read the bottom of the page, so your eyes are still kind of looking at the bottom.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could start reading it like this. Like,
I think it also helps that there's really there's no dialogue here except for like a sound effect because I don't know. I think that sometimes.
but that's probably the quietest thing happening when there's a dragon exploding the entire castle.
Yeah.
What you hear is the gunshot. Shapow!
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you had the emergence of this character's powers. They were a human assistant to Abe Sapien, and then they found out they had a sensitivity to fire and could control fire. So it ended up being a key issue. I think at the time it literally was just like one of 5 comics I had in my bag, and I was like, oh, the signature will look coolest. But it ends up being a really key turning point in the BPRD epic. I think that this is when they finally killed the King of Frogs and they stopped the Plague of Frogs from coming. Which is like built up for 50 issues. It's really epic. And then you have Lobster Johnson emerge as a character. But yeah, no, BPRD, Plague of Frogs, gotta shout it out. One of my favorite comic runs of all time.
And it's signed.
I'm not a guy who likes signatures that much. I'm a guy who likes talking to the artist and having a memory instead of a signature.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have very few signed books actually that I care about. But Guy Davis, I hope you watch this video and know that someone random appreciates your art. That's what comics are about. Strangers liking your stuff.
Yes, indeed.
Be a stranger, like our stuff. Oh!